Yes, can you see the document?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So we first will pass on to block break, right? Or it's also called as a shoe break. So shoe break, I think all of you are aware of. We will be having a brake drum, right, to which the shoe will be attached, and the friction between the brake drum and the shoe once we press the brake, right, that will that is for responsible for stopping the vehicle, right. So a diagram like this will be looking like this, right. So this is a lever, brake lever, right. This is a fulcrum based and this is a brake lever, and if you apply the force F, that will press this brake shoe over the brake drum, which will create a frictional force, and due to the frictional force, right, the vehicle will be stopping, right. So this is how the block brake or shoe brake works, right. So here the variant we have three cases anyway that will I'll tell you now. So if you see that when a brake is applied, the lever with the block can be considered as a free body in equilibrium under the action of the following forces. So if you see this diagram, this is actually the free body diagram which shows the various forces which is acting on the brake, right. So one force we call it as the applied force F at the end of the lever. So this with respect to the fulcrum, there is a lever attached to it, which we will be pressing, right. So the force which we apply, that we call it as the applied force. So applied force is characterized by letter F, and that is applied on the lever. And next is the normal reaction Fn between the wheel and the shoe. So whenever a body is touching the other body, right, two bodies are in contact with each other, there is a normal reaction. So here you can see the Fn, which is at the center axis, right. So that it is along that axis, this normal reaction will always act, which is perpendicular to the surface. Or in other words, we can say normal reaction is perpendicular to the frictional force. So where is frictional force? Frictional force given by the F theta. If you see here, this is F theta. So this F theta is given by mu into normal reaction, mu into Fn, right. So sometimes we may use to say Fn is equal to F theta divided by mu, right. Normal reaction is equal to frictional F theta tangential force divided by mu. So the product of the coefficient of friction and the tangential force, we call it as the frictional force, mu into F. And how is the direction of frictional force? Depends upon the rotation. It is all rotation, right. F theta is a tangential force. So obviously the frictional force will be acting opposite to the direction of F theta usually, because it will always act opposite to the movement of the vehicle, right. So like that. Now last one is a pin reaction. Pin reaction is most of the times it is negligible, right. So I have not shown that pin reaction in this diagram. Now these are the notations. Let mt as usual is a torque in Newton millimeter. Capital N is a power in kilowatt. N is small n is the speed in RPM. 2 theta, that is the angle of contact surface of the block. So you can see the dotted lines, right. The what to say, the R subtended, right. So that the area of the brake drum which is in contact the brake shoe, right. So that is subtend, that is nothing but the sector of this circle. So that is given by the angle subtended 2 theta, which is the subtended angle 2 theta, right. Next, that is called as the angle of contact surface of the block, and mu is the coefficient of friction. Mu is the coefficient of friction, and L is the length of the shoe. B dash is the width of the shoe in millimeter. P is the allowable pressure in Newton per mm square. capital F is applied force or operating force in Newton. F theta, tangential braking force in Newton. Fn is a normal force in Newton. And capital D is a brake drum diameter. The diameter of the circle, that is a brake drum, is capital D. So half of the D is small r I have chosen as a notation. So radius of the brake drum or wheel. So where we use this radius to calculate the torque which is developed, braking torque. So is equal to force into radius, or applied force into the radius r, we will get the torque. And A, B, C are the distances. So distance between fulcrum pin and the center of shoe. So this is a fulcrum pin and this is center of the shoe. So distance between these two points between the fulcrum pin and center of shoe, we call it as A. And between the center of the shoe and the application of the force, right, that distance we call it as B. So that is what is written here. B is distance between center of shoe and applied force. And distance between fulcrum pin and the line of action of the tangential force, that we call it as C actually. That we call it as C, right? So here this is not shown, C is not shown here because the if the tangential force acting along the line of action of the line of action of tangential force is exactly along the axis of pin. So here C is not shown, but here I think yes, here we are shown. Here if you see the tangential force is above the fulcrum pin, so that there is some distance between the fulcrum axis and the line of action of the F theta tangential force. That distance, that vertical distance, we call it as C. So always remember this ABC distances, you should not change, because all the formulas which we are seeing is based on this logic A, B, and C. So you always start from the fulcrum pin. Fulcrum pin to the center of the shoe is A. Center of the shoe to the applied force is B. And vertical distance between the fulcrum pin and the tangential force, the line of action of tangential force, is C. So these are the notations, right? You should be acquainted with. Now we have three cases. First is the line of action of tangential force passes through the fulcrum. Line of action, second case is line of action of tangential force is in between the fulcrum and the center of the drum. And the third case is F theta. Fulcrum is in between F theta and center of the drum. So you see, the first is the line of action of force. Tangential force passes through the fulcrum. So as we can see the figure, like this F theta is actually line of action is passing through the fulcrum O. Right. So we will see what is that will happen. So in this we have two sub cases depending upon the direction of F theta. So the first is direction of F theta is towards the fulcrum. That is towards the fulcrum is this figure B. Right. So if it is towards the fulcrum, so what we are doing, we are going to take moment with respect to O. Right. So capital F into A plus B is equal to Fn into A. F theta will not give you any moment because it is acting along the axis of along the fulcrum. So it won't give any moment. So obviously F into A plus B plus Fn into A is equal to Fn into A. Or I told you earlier, F theta is equal to mu into Fn, or Fn equal to F by mu, F theta by mu. So I am substituting it here, F theta by mu into A. From this we can find what is the applied force F is equal to F theta into A by mu into A plus B. That is equation 19.144. And this is applicable if under two things, if F theta is towards the fulcrum, right, and the disk is rotating in clockwise direction, right. Now we will see what is F theta away from the fulcrum, right. If it is away from the fulcrum like this, you can see this figure, direction of tangential force is directed away from the fulcrum, right. So here if you take a moment with respect to O, what will happen? F theta F into A plus B, right, is equal to Fn into A. Yes or no? Fn into A if it is away from the fulcrum, right? So Fn into A, and again F theta will not give you any moment because it is actually line of action of tangential force acting along the towards the pin of the fulcrum, right? So it won't give any moment. That is why that C term is involved in these two cases. The distance C is not involved because distance C is 0 here actually. So again calculating Fn equal to F theta by mu, so we get applied force equal F theta A by mu into A plus B. So same we are getting equation. It is same for what to say, if the tangential force is towards the fulcrum or away from the fulcrum, but if it is acting along the axis of the if the axis of line of action of a tangential force is acting along the pin, right, towards the pin and along the pin, the formula is not changing, the applied force is going to be same. Now case 2 we will see. Case 2 is line of action of tangential force F theta is in between fulcrum and center of the drum. So here if you can see, this F theta is there, and there is a F theta is where it is located, it is in between the center of the drum, right, and in between the fulcrum and the center of the drum. Yes, so this is the center of the drum and this is the fulcrum, so F theta is in between those two, right, the line of action F theta. That is why in this figure you can see the vertical distance C, which is the distance between the tangential force and the fulcrum pin. Now we will see here also we have two cases. Direction of F theta is towards the fulcrum, so this any of the figure clockwise or counterclockwise, right. If you see, if you take moment with respect to O, right, F into A plus B, right, plus F theta into C is equal, because both are going to be counterclockwise moment. So F into, on rearranging we get F into A plus B plus F theta into C is equal to Fn into A. That is what I have written in this equation. So when I am telling this, you have to refer to the figure actually. This is a F into A plus B with respect to O, F into A plus B plus F theta into C is equal to Fn into A. So that is the equation I have written here, or Fn equal to F theta by mu into A. So now I rearrange it. F theta, I bring this F theta to the right hand side. So F into A plus B is equal to F theta by mu into A minus F theta into C. Take F theta commonly outside. So A by mu minus C. Take A also commonly outside. So we will get 1 by mu minus C by A dividing the, right, or applied force F is equal to F theta into A by A plus B into 1 by mu minus C by A. So this is formula for applied calculation of applied force when the F theta is directed towards the fulcrum. And I'll tell you one thing, these formulas, the cases are given in the table, or that in a table in data book. So need not worry about it. Even if you are not able to remember formula or data book, you can even directly do this like this. You can refer the figure and you can derive the formula. So that's not an issue. So case B is F theta is directed away from the fulcrum. So we'll see if it is away from the fulcrum, taking moment about O, F into A plus B, right? And F theta will not, F into A plus B is anti-clockwise moment, right? And remaining toward clockwise, so F only, so F into A plus B is equal to Fn into A plus F theta into C. That is what written here. So again Fn equal to F theta by mu, I can write it into A plus, so take F theta common, right, we will get the same formula, A by A plus B into 1 by mu plus C by A. Any doubt till this? Are you able to understand? Fine.
Yes, sir.
Now case 3, here what is the case? You can see the figure over here, the difference actually. The F theta, the line of action F theta, this fulcrum is actually little bit above the F theta, right? So, or we can say this fulcrum, this F theta line of action is in between the fulcrum and the center of the shoe. So, yes. So here if you see taking moment about O, F into A plus B is giving a counterclockwise moment F into A plus B, and F theta into C is a clockwise moment, Fn into A is also clockwise, so we only one term on the left hand side. So F into A plus B is equal to Fn into A plus F theta into C. So same relationship, Fn equal to F theta by mu, substitute it, we will get F is equal to F theta into A by A plus B into 1 by mu plus C by A. Again, F theta direction is away from the fulcrum, so like this, it's away from the fulcrum. So if you see here, take moment, F into A plus B will give you counterclockwise moment, whereas remaining two are clockwise moment. So obviously F theta into C, yes, C is above it, right? So obviously it will also give you counterclockwise moment. So F into A plus B plus F theta into C is equal to Fn into A. Rearrange it, we will be getting F equal to F theta into A by A plus B into 1 by mu minus C by A. So these are the cases, various cases. So how they won't give these cases in directly in the question. You have to identify from the diagram which is given in the question. Right. So all these formulas are also listed in table 19.7, I think, in data book volume 1. Right. Fine. I think this we have seen, right? Yes. And if it is away from the fulcrum, say 1 by mu minus 1 C by A. So you have to note down these points. If the angle of contact 2 theta is less than 60, then it may be assumed that the normal pressure between wheel and block is uniform pressure. Right. From this, the summary which you have to take is when 2 theta angle is greater than 60, right, then the pressure normal to the surface of the coin less than the end. So obviously, if 2 theta is greater than 60, instead of actual coefficient of friction, equivalent coefficient of friction has to be used. This is very, very important thing, because everywhere we are using this mu term. So this mu is equal to mu as usual be the 2 theta is lesser than 60. What is 2 theta? The angle subtended by the shoe, contact of the shoe with the brake drum, right? Whatever the angle subtended, that is actually the 2 theta. So this 2 theta, if it is less than 60, no issues, you can actually use the coefficient of friction as it is. But if the 2 theta is greater than 60, then we have to go for equivalent coefficient of friction like this. Equivalent coefficient of friction is given by mu dash, which is equal to 4 mu sin theta by 2 theta plus sin 2 theta, where this 2 theta will be in radians, whereas sin theta and sin 2 theta will be in degrees, whereas 2 theta will be in radians. So you have to convert to radian while substituting. So this is nothing but 4 mu sin theta is the what to say, force by area form, or is sorry, this is coefficient of friction. And again, for normal pressure on the shoe, it is given by force by projected area, that is Fn divided by 2 b dash into r into sin theta. So this you have to remember two things, because this formula is not there in data book. Whenever they ask you to find out the pressure, unit pressure, you have to use this formula Fn, because Fn we will find out from the figure relationships between the various forces. We can find out Fn value. So to find the pressure, we need to use this formula Fn divided by 2 b dash into r into sin theta, where b dash is the width of the shoe, width of the brake shoe. Then there is something called as a self-locking brake, right? So when there are two things, self-energizing brake, right, and self-locking brake. So we'll see what it is. See, the frictional force helps to apply the brake, and then the brake is called as the self-energizing brake. right? And if the frictional force is enough to apply the brake without any external force, then the brake is called as the self-locking brake, right? So frictional force is created once we press the lever slowly, right? We will get the frictional force, but always self-energizing brake is preferred because it will not the brake is under our control and it will not allow the vehicle braking force to exceed and to stop the vehicle. So if that is happening, only because of the frictional force, the brake is right. Then we can say it is a self-locking brake, right? So always the brake should be self-energizing, and it should not be self-locking. So this they may ask for some 2 or 3 marks. Now there are one more note you have to remember. Use clockwise rotation formula. To use clockwise rotation formula if f theta is towards the fulcrum, right, and use counterclockwise formula f theta is away from the fulcrum, right. Anyway, that you will understand when you see the numericals. And two more equations which you require is braking torque mt is equal to f theta into r, and heat generated is equal to mu into force, f mu into force into velocity, right. So force is equal to f in pressure into area, projected area into velocity, or this p into ac we can write it as fn. So mu into fn into velocity will give you the heat generated during the braking, because that is nothing but the heat power heat generated is nothing but the loss, right, because of the friction. That is the frictional loss. It is a frictional loss is evident by the heat generated actually. Okay, we'll pass on to first numerical. A single block brake is as shown in the figure. The drum diameter is 250 mm. The contact angle is 90 degree. If an operating force of 700 Newton is applied at the end of the lever and the coefficient of friction is 0.35, determine the torque that may be sustained by the brake. Here two diagrams are given. So if you see the difference between two diagrams, everything is same, only the rotation of the brake drum is different. So first A will give you the brake drum is in clockwise rotation, whereas in figure B the brake drum is in counterclockwise direction. In both the cases we have to find out what is the torque, right. So let's write the given data. So I told you right from the fulcrum, so right from the lever, right, A is equal to from the fulcrum we have to see A is equal to 200. The next is 250, which is the distance between center and the applied force. So that is B is equal to 250, and small c it is given here as 50. Now brake drum diameter capital D is equal to 250. Therefore we need radius r equal to 125. So 2 theta angle is 90 degree. Operating force F, capital F, is nothing but the applied force, is equal to 700 Newton. We have to find out mt. So here 2 theta is 90 degrees. So obviously 2 theta is greater than 60. So we have to find, first step we have to find out what is the equivalent coefficient of friction using this formula. 4 mu sin theta by 2 theta plus sin 2 theta. So 4 into mu is 0.35 into sin theta is 45 degree divided by 2 theta is 90, that is in degrees. So convert to radians if you want to substitute only an angle. So 90 into pi by 180 are multiplied plus sin 2 theta, so sin 90. Substituting all these for numbers, we will get mu dash is equal to 0.385. So this is the equivalent coefficient of friction. So wherever mu is there, you have to use mu dash hereafter. Now for clockwise rotation, that is, this is the first figure for clockwise rotation, right? F theta into F into A plus B, right? Yes. So as after deriving, we can get the formula ready-made, right? If the clockwise rotation, F theta is away from the fulcrum, we can use equation 19.148. Compare this. So 146, 148. So this is actually F theta is away from the fulcrum, right? This towards the fulcrum. Away from the fulcrum is this figure. So this is how it is given in the question. So for this, the applied force is given by F theta into A by A plus B into 1 by mu minus C by A. So the same equation I have written over here. For clockwise rotation, F theta is away from the fulcrum. F is equal to F theta into A by A plus B is into 1 by mu dash minus C by A. Substitute. We know F is equal to 700. F theta we don't know. That is what we have to find out first. A by A plus B. 200 by 200 plus 250. 1 by mu dash 1 by 0.385. C by A 50 by 200. So if we substitute, we'll find the F theta is equal to 670.954. That's the tangential force. Now torque is equal to tangential force into radius of the drum. So F theta into R. So I got 83,869.3 Newton mm. Now this is clockwise rotation. Now for counterclockwise rotation, F theta is towards the fulcrum. Counterclockwise, this F theta is actually acting towards the fulcrum. In that case, we'll use equation 19.147. F theta into A by A plus B into 1 by mu plus C by A. So same formula, only the sign changes. Minus will become plus over here. So if you multiply all these, and we can find out the unknown value. F theta is equal to 553.136 Newton. So that's the tangential force. Now torque is equal to F theta into R. So we'll get 553.136 into 125, 69,142 Newton mm. So always we have to take the greater capacity. So I am taking the highest torque. Actual torque capacity for the given brake is 88,869 Newton mm. So let's select the bigger value as the capacity. Any doubt? So what I will do is I'll stop with this problem, because you have to understand first of all the cases, right? So once all those cases which are derived, right? Once you just go through it once, so once you are okay with those cases, then you will be able to understand the remaining problem well. So with this, I'm stopping today's class. So if you have any doubt, you can ping me. Aditya.